CBS and 60 Minutes coming under major fire. It's over a story they did on Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. The program claimed that DeSantis gave preferential treatment to grocery store chain Publix in the vaccine rollout because they donated to his campaign. But the Florida governor's hitting back hard against the accusation. He's accusing 60 Minutes of deceptively editing the piece. Here's what the clip looked like when it aired on CBS.
Publix, as you know, donated $100,000 to your campaign, and then you rewarded them with the exclusive rights to distribute the vaccination in Palm Beach.
So first of all, what you're saying is wrong.
How is that not pay to play?
That's a fake narrative. I met with the county mayor, I met with the administrator, I met with all the folks at Palm Beach County, and I said, here's some of the options. We can do more drive-through sites. We can give more to hospitals. We can do the Publix. And they said, we think that would be the easiest thing for our residents.
But Melissa McKinley, the county commissioner in the Glades, told us the governor never met with her about the Publix deal.
The criticism is that it's pay to play, Governor.
It's wrong. It's a fake narrative. I just disabused you of the narrative, and you don't care about the facts because obviously I laid it out for you in a way that is irrefutable.
And here's what CBS cut out, including why DeSantis decided to choose Publix.
As we got into January, we wanted to expand the distribution points. So yes, you had the counties, you had some drive-through sites, you had hospitals that were doing a lot, but we wanted to get it into communities more. So we reached out to other retail pharmacies, Publix, Walmart. Obviously, CVS and Walgreens had to finish that mission, and we said we're going to use you as soon as you're done with that. For the Publix, they were the first one to raise their hand, say they were ready to go. And you know what? We did it on a trial basis. I had 3 counties. I actually showed up that weekend and talked to seniors across 4 different Publix. How was the experience? Is this good? Should you think this is the way to go? And it was 100% positive.
CBS continues to stand behind their story, saying today our story Sunday night speaks for itself. Dana Perino, let me begin with you. DeSantis claims he's being smeared by left-wing corporate New York media. He points out that CBS has not done a story on embattled New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. But the CBS people say DeSantis turned down 2 interviews. So I'm thinking, is this a normal press versus politician conflict that's being blown up by the grievance media, by political polarization?
Sometimes I would agree with you on that one. In this case, no. When the CBS says that the story speaks for itself, yep, it sure does. And it's been going now for 2 days. If they wanted to help Ron DeSantis solidify his position as one of the top Republican leaders in America, they could not have done a better job. The way that CBS edited that video, that would have been pulled off the air if it was a political ad and the opponent complained, it would have been pulled off for less. You know, I have a little bit of history of dealing with CBS on such deception. I don't think that it is too far to say that this is reminiscent of things from the past where they forged documents and then aired them. They defended it for several days when it came to George W. Bush's National Guard service, and then all of a sudden, oh, wait, actually reverse course and move on. The opportunity for Governor DeSantis right now, I think, is to move beyond just talking to the Republican base. He has a great story to tell about Florida and how Florida has done in COVID. We have Dan Bongino here who can talk about this with more direct experience. But you have Florida and Texas who had a different approach for dealing with the COVID and the lockdowns and try to figure out a way to keep the economy open while keeping people safe. Meantime, you have these Democratic stars of Governor Newsom and Cuomo with the worst records. And so this is an opportunity for DeSantis to move beyond just talking about CBS deceptively editing that piece about him. The last thing I would point out is I interviewed the mayor of Palm Beach this morning. He's a Democrat. He raised his hand immediately after seeing that 60 Minutes interview and said, this is not right. This is not what happened. This is wrong. And he said that he talked to them for over 50 minutes, but that nothing that he said was included in the piece. Today, when CBS issued another statement about this, they said, well, we talked to that mayor. Like, well, we talked to him, but nothing sunk in, and he feels that it was deceptive. So if you have a Democratic mayor defending the Republican governor who is at the top of his political field, then you know you have a problem at CBS.
Well, here's the video.
I participated in speaking with the producer of 60 Minutes for probably over 45 minutes and gave very direct facts about the governor's meeting that I had with him here in my office a few months ago. And when I watched the piece, I was just taken aback, really, that none of my comments, none of my perspective was included.
Katie, you got two Florida Democrats, including that governor that you just saw, saying that, they agree with the governor that, in fact, they thought Publix should be used to vaccinate people in the state. But at the same time, 60 Minutes factually noted that Publix, the heiress to the Publix fortune, gave major donation to Publix, to DeSantis, I should say, to his political action committee just before that big contract was given to Publix. So I just want to know if you think, isn't that a story?
No. First of all, $100,000 in Florida as a campaign donation is really not a lot of money. Publix is the most popular grocery store chain, and they explain that there's a Publix within a mile and a half of most senior communities in Florida, which is why they decided to go with them first and why they decided to vaccinate seniors first. But if you want to talk about the amount of money, if that's the scandal here for pay to play, which is obviously what CBS is trying to go for, Gavin Newsom received $23 million from Blue Shield in California and then gave the exclusive rights to vaccination to Blue Shield in California. So $23 million versus $100,000 of routine political donation to Ron DeSantis. There's no story there. And yet CBS continues to say that, they did the right thing. They reached out to the right people. But what I like about the story is that you look at Florida, and it's obvious that Democrats and Republicans, unlike the rest of the country, were able to rise above politics and partisanship to get the job done when it came to getting people vaccinated quickly. And so I think that's really what the focus is here, and we'll see what CBS does.
Okay, so Greg, you have politicians, though, in minority areas in Florida pointing out that they were not getting access to the vaccine in comparable way to people who were wealthy and donors to DeSantis. Is that fair to point out as a criticism?
I don't know, because it's simply one variable, right? And when you're doing something like this, there are a number of variables going on in terms of age and risk factors. The thing that gets me, there are two funny things about this. There's actually something hilarious about this. When 60 Minutes, in their defense of this, bragged that this report stirred debate and prompted a strong reaction. But they neglect to say that they stirred debate through its corrupt methods. It wasn't because it was the facts created this debate. So it's like saying my incompetence raises awareness of incompetent people. The strong reaction is over the dishonest manipulation of tape. And the second part of this, and this maybe is the best part, CBS claims that they edited the piece for clarity. That's like saying we're lying for the truth. Because you consider this logic that context gets in the way of a story. And sadly, they kind of are right. The media's grim intention all along is to shape their narrative. And in order to do that, you have to remove the context, whether it's Washington Post and the Covington kids or Katie Couric. Remember Katie Couric with those gun owners? Or 60 Minutes. They look at people's lives like a block of clay. And it's up to them to carve the story of discord out of it to make money, because a positive, uplifting story, of which there are many involving DeSantis, that's not going to get them clicks. So they have to find the negative element in every story. In this case, it was linking Publix to this. But this is always the media's goal. Positive stories don't pay. The goal is to manage destruction of your target. It's the Richard Jewell effect.
So, Dan, you know a lot about Florida, as Dana was saying. And, it seems like DeSantis's fortunes politically are rising. Conservatives defending him. He's a hero. Although what you get is a lot of people say, this is the same guy who believed Trump's claims of election fraud. What do you see?
Wow, that was interesting how you threw that one in there, Juan. That has absolutely nothing to do with the story, but really nice try. So this is a total lie. This is a story designed to appeal to idiots. So if you're a moron, this story on 60 Minutes absolutely appeals to you. You think there's something there. It's totally made up. There's not a shred of truth to it. Now, if you actually live in Florida like I do, you can't swing a wiffle ball bat without hitting a Publix because there's one in every direction. So let's just think this through. By the way, also, Juan, Publix donates to everyone in Florida because they have 816 stores in Florida. So, you know, just like everyone else, they donate to politicians. But let me just bring this up. If you were going to distribute the vaccine, would you do it in a place that had 800? Look, this is a tough one for liberals, so think this through, folks. Libs, take the blinders off and think this through. Do you want to put it in a location that has 800 locations or 300? Now, I know the liberals are, because they've been vaccinated to the truth, right? I know that's hard for them to figure out, Juan, but 816 locations, Publix is probably a good place to start with vaccinations. I'm just going to throw that out there.